Hello.
Hello.
Here we are with the preacher. More of Book of Wisdom, Ishupanishad, coming up here. Okay? And let's see. There we go. There it is. Can you see it, Leela?
I certainly can.
Hi, Raj.
Hi, Raj.
There's a hi, Raj. And there's June. Harry Om. Yeah, she must have seen the Harry Om picture. The Harry, I should have brought that picture in here, but I didn't. Anyway, so we are in chapter 10. We're coming near the end of Ishupanishad, Book of Wisdom. Hello, Tusharain.
Hello.
Hi, Nilesh. Hello again, Roseanne. So there we go. You ready to take it away, preacher? Ignorant sadhakas.
Yep. Ignorant sadhakas. Ignorant sadhakas due to their avidya. In the initial stages, sometimes live a life of sadhana and sometimes live without sadhana. But those determined to improve their life and achieve their purpose never rest until they have removed the veil of avidya by their sattvic, pure and noble sadhana. Thus, the sadhakas lighten their sadhana day by day, uncovering vidya by means of noble and pure faith. The sadhaka succeeds in realizing life's supreme goal after struggle for years. The great hurdle before sadhaka is illusion. This illusion grows as the sadhaka moves along his path. It vanishes only when the sadhaka succeeds in realizing his aim. Well, that doesn't sound like very good news. It's going to get worse before it gets better, right? That's what it says, huh?
Seems to happen.
Grows as the sadhaka moves along his path. I have seen many a great soul who, having renounced his home, wealth, property, and the pleasures of life, after a few years retraces his steps backwards to the stages of sponsoring ashrams, monasteries, and temples. It's like the same thing. Why does it all happen? It is Maya. For if it is not so, why do such men run after collecting money in order to establish new sects for the sake of their own glory? If questioned about it, they reply that after reaching the state of perfection, there's no harm in doing anything. What a funny thing. One who collects things, whatever the motive behind it, is not a sannyasi but a householder. Maya's sweep is far and wide. A sadhaka becomes perfect only when sadhana becomes his nature. How then can one performing forbidden actions be counted in the category of perfected souls? Siddhas. It is therefore, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yep.
It's therefore highly condemnable for a sadhaka to regard himself perfect, unless the ideals of sadhana become second nature with him. Without pure sadhana, the sadhaka, in spite of possessing discriminatory knowledge, viveka, is unable to realize his aim. Trifling at sadhana cannot lift the veil of Maya. This Atman, self, cannot be obtained by listening to discourses, nor by intellectual understanding, say the Shruti, scriptures. It is not necessary that every perfected man should obtain his true self. Atma Prapti, realization of self, comes only after Atma Siddhi, perfection of self. Hi, Gurvinder. Indeed, the sadhaka finds that peculiar power called Maya.
Hi, Gurvinder.
Playing in his life even after he has been able to conquer many illusions and allurements of life. As already mentioned, it is all beautiful. These pleasures of the world, the family, relations, society, friends, kith and kin, all these may be counted among the beautiful, but their beauty is short-lived. When our attachment of these is lost, we have another beauty before us. It is the beauty of nature. Just consider how beautiful must be the power that distributes beauty to the whole world. To attain to that endless ocean of beauty is to attain Brahman. Maya is the very charming woman who wears the beautiful chunari, headdress of various names and forms. The very sun, moon, and stars, indeed, all the luminaries are the stars studded on the bright veil of Maya. These luminaries which dazzle man belong to it, Maya. The attraction to Maya is more subtle and pervasive than any single ordinary attachment. More than ice cream?
Yeah, more than that.
It is a peculiar attraction. It works like gravity on a stone thrown over a river. A stone is thrown over a river but does not reach the other shore because gravity attracts it so. In this way, the peculiar attractive power of Maya may work to keep the sadhaka from reaching his goal on the other shore. But when the sadhaka exerts himself fully in manly toil, by his noble sadhana and higher processes of meditation, he is assisted on his way. The forces of sadhana and vidya succeed in carrying him onward to his destination. If there is the dark empire of Maya on one bank, the sadhaka gets a new light the moment he is full of devotion. If in crossing over to the other side, the sadhaka has to face the river of moha, delusion, and its fearful whirlpools, the mother faith is also there to protect her dear sons. It is possible to transcend Maya. If there is noble sadhana and the purpose is constantly brought to mind, constantly without a break,
Yeah.
faith turns out to be the ferry for the sadhaka, and he or she, crossing over to the other side of the river of attachment without fear, is able to attain Brahman. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
By pure knowledge, sadhana, full of effort and noble faith, one may get to the other shore. Central to the whole teaching of the Ishopanishad is the 15th mantra. It confirms that this vast world and life is like a vessel, the mouth of which is covered with a luminous, bright, alluring, beautiful, golden covering. You know, I noticed that many really good chocolate bars are covered with gold foil. You ever notice that?
Well, I guess not in quite the way that you're saying it here.
Yeah.
I never linked the chocolate bar to the Ishopanishad. But it will never be the same again.
The beauty of this world has spread before us the net of various allurements, while the sweet truth that lies inside the beautiful vessel is the elixir of absolute beauty, which we call God.
Inside the chocolate wrapper covered with gold.
Mm-hmm. This inside is the soul of all individuals. That would mean all y'all, and me too.
Everybody.
And collectively, it is called God. It is beyond the reach of mind and intellect. When the sadhaka, in the course of his sadhana and quest for truth...
Hello, Ruth Ann. Hello, Urban.
Hi, y'all. When the sadhaka, and Ruth and Urban and all y'all, in the course of his sadhana and quest for truth, succeeds in removing all the coverings and shines in his own true nature, he is free.
Free. Maitreya says free.
From all illusions and false perceptions. Then he sees no distinction between individual soul and universal soul. It is this that is called realization of one's true nature. Truth alone is the aim of human life, and the path of truth is the path of sadhana. He who tries to churn the butter of truth in the vessel of this body does succeed to secure that butter one way or another, because they ain't going to stop churning till they get the butter, right?
Yep.
Such is the experience gained from the biographies of the great sages and the followers of Vedanta. How can truth withhold itself from those who are adherents of truth, who have the truth as the sole object of their lives? Such a pursuit of truth is the greatest sadhana, and this sadhana is possible in the midst of life in the world. One whose sole object is truth is always on the path of liberation wherever he might be. Oh, I'm going to try to remember that tomorrow.
Yeah.
For him, active life in the world is like retiring in a forest, and the household life becomes sannyasa. In the last 4 mantras of the Upanishad, we get revelation of the outburst of emotions and feelings of the sadhaka in his last moments. The thirst of the sadhaka is never quenched by the limited pleasures of the world, and he begins to weep in prayers issuing from the purity of his heart. This weeping is a kind of bhakti. It begins to flow from the eyes in the shape of tears, overriding all regulations and restrictions. The fall of tears for the object of love gives shape and form to sentiment and feeling. Every tear shed for the object of worship is like a blessed anointment. Such an anointment and devotion are pure and noble. Some persons say that bhakti, devotion, proceeds from power. But I believe that so long as the devotee finds the personal self possessing even the least power, he is unable to enjoy the taste of devotion. Bhakti is, in fact, the pure and sinless desire of a fully helpless person who makes God the object of his love, the only support and aim of his life. Only such a man is a true devotee and worthy of veneration. Such saints living in this world are always with God. Are we all really devotees of God? In the first period of life, we, ambitious of love, are indeed the devotees of pleasures. In the second period of life, we hanker after name and fame. In the third period, we begin to worship the objects of our attachment. All the so-called penance of our life is hypocritical. In the fourth period of life, when physical strength declines, the body is wholly emaciated, and the sun of life is on the decline, we begin to realize that death is fast approaching, and may at any moment devour us. Think about it. It is then that we begin to repeat the mantras, recite the rosary, and read scriptures. But is only to be saved from fear of death. It is not bhakti, but a weak attempt to gain shelter from death. In old age, attachments and affections make man so weak as to compel him to have faith in some higher power. Everyone has sympathy and affection for the helpless, emaciated old man, but nobody can make him free from this misery. The power
that's not free. Nobody can make him free.
Right. That power that is capable of granting shelter from such miseries is God. Hardly anyone thinks of devotion and liberation in the prime of life. If the lessons of idam sarvam ishvasyam, all this is in God, and tena tyaktena bhujitam, enjoy, renouncing all attachments, are learned during childhood, the days of misery may never arrive. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
So whoever wants success in the journey of life must follow in practice these mantras of the Ishopanishad. And that's practice. I just have to reach my cord over here for my computer and plug it in because it got detached.
Oh, my.
So now I'm going to plug it back in. There we go. We're plugged back in, and it won't
We
go.
want non-attachment, but we do want our computers to be attached.
Yeah. I don't have any attachment, but my computer does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right. You must have noted that in the changed conditions of life, bhakti becomes a natural inspiration, and moved by this inspiration, man is constrained to believe in the reign of some higher power over him. I have often asked dying old men in their deathbed, what is truth? The answer has invariably been, this attachment alone is the cause of misery. The only truth is to lead life without desires, considering God to be omnipresent. That means everywhere all the time.
Yep.
These mantras, too, give us the same teaching in the beginning and end of our life, and to make progress in this life, and to make for progress in this life. Oops. The study of human life tells us that when a small child, after exhausting...
Something got skipped there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. These books of life are like obvious scriptures and holy books. They cannot be ignored. It is absolutely necessary to study the volume of life. Sciences, philosophies, learning, and teachings are meant to discover the beginning and end of our life and to make for progress in this life. The study of human life tells us that when a small child, after exhausting all his labor and efforts, looks toward his mother with helplessness, the tender-hearted mother lifts the child to her lap with her natural and motiveless kindness and pacifies him. In the same way, when the seeker of salvation exhausts himself and is tired with his labor, he becomes dear to God and worthy of his love. These mantras convey the idea of this prayer. Worship of God. The worship of God is of two kinds, saguna and nirguna. Saguna is the worship of God in some form or shape. Nirguna is the worship of formless God. The feeling with which the devotee worships God is of two kinds, para and apara. The saguna worship and apara bhakti is that in which the feelings and thoughts that God is just and kind and has other attributes are faithfully instilled in the heart. This whole world is a mere exhalation or ripple of thought of God. That is why we should consider everyone to be a form of God. Service to all is service of God. Such is the saguna feeling of bhakti. It's pretty good. The realization of formlessness and attributelessness of God and the conviction that he is without a beginning or an end, is without any change or diminution, is beyond mortality or old age, come within nirguna worship. The terms describing God as without hearing, without touch, without form, without change or diminution are indicative of nirguna feeling, which is called parabhakti. Only a sadhaka pure of mind and pure in faith can reach the state where there is no attachment, no sorrow, and where one sees the same one everywhere. Upasana, or worship, means that the sadhaka should accept bhakti instead of petty self-will in his life. Bhakti is self-surrender and bowing to the will of God who is deep within us. Saguna and nirguna worship Worship of God with attributes and without attributes yield different results. When the sadhaka fills his heart, excuse me, with various aspects of God, this worship grants him joy in accordance with those divine qualities. In the 15th mantra, the prayer has been made to God, "O Lord, liberate me from all the obscuring veils, allurements, and chains of attachment." This is the cry of the sadhaka, the seeker of truth, seeking to establish the relationship of oneness with the object of his worship, God, which is truth. We should feel that truth alone is the religion of man. To let truth rule our lives is to accept religion. Our religion should be identical with truth. The means of realizing Brahman constitute truth and nothing but truth. Truth must be followed in word, deed, and action. The glory of truth has been variously described in the Upanishads. Sadhakas should always bear in mind the precept that truth is supreme in practical ethics and spiritual matters. Hypocritical religion is a hurdle and fatal to the realization of truth. Truth ought not to be different from religion, nor religion different from truth. It is the duty of the sadhaka not to allow truth to be concealed by the bright golden cover. In the 16th mantra, a prayer is offered to God to make the jiva, individual soul, full of truth, consciousness, and bliss. In this mantra, the sadhaka is instructed to assimilate the qualities, attitudes, and conceptions given in the following lines. Every human being should be the supporter and preserver of other human beings. God is the preserver and sustainer of all. We must have faith and belief only in one God. We should never do injustice to anyone. We should shine in the same manner as the sun shines. The sun itself is self-illumined and gives light to all. Giving light to the world, it remains apart and distant from all. In the same way, the sadhaka, serving all selflessly and without desire, should still remain detached from the world. The last teaching of this mantra is that just as God keeps his creation bound by laws, the sadhaka should also live a life of regulation. He should never violate the instructions recommended for the realization of truth. After a certain period of sadhana, these instructions become second nature for him. A devotee of God is always immersed in divine love. He is oblivious of himself. Realization of purpose is the only aim in his life. In the highest state of his pure and noble faith, the devotee is able to have a vision of the Lord, the object of his love. The devotee is always free from sorrow.
Free!
For him, this world of deception and illusion and the ways of life are no more painful. Everywhere he feels the play of God. Why should such a person who sees his Lord, true, conscious, and blissful everywhere, envy anyone? The path of devotion is a unique path. The devotee resides in his God. He surrenders himself fully to God with the feeling, nothing belongs to me. Whatever I have is yours. What do I lose in offering to you what already belongs to you? How about that?
Mm-hmm.
In this state of mind, how can there be any attachment to the distinction of mine and yours?
There you go.
How about that?
How about that? End of chapter 10. Want to go on?
Sure.
All right. Let me take that out of there. And here comes the fourth pada and the last chapter. Pada number 4. Got it?
Got it.
All righty. There it is.
Vayur anilam amritam atedam bashmantam sharidam. Om krato smarakritam smarakrato smarakritam smara. Now let my breath return to immortal prana and my body to ashes. Remember, O mind, remember Om, and remember my deeds. Remember my deeds. Remember all that sadhana.
Yeah.
Agni Naya Supataraye Asmin Vishvani Deva Sayunyani Vidvan Yuyudyasmaj Juhurinam Eno Bu Istam Te Nama Uktim Videma. Agni, lead me by the good path to the fruits of my actions. Deva, you know all deeds. Remove me from the fault of deceit. I offer myriad words of devotion to you. The 17th mantra speaks of one important thing, namely, that the sadhaka should practice enough sadhana in his life so as to be able to remember at death the highest name of God, Om, with his heart free from all passion. If it is not his sense of identification with the body and the attachments and affections of the world will bring him pain. The following 3 instructions of the mantra must be borne in mind. I have to get up and close the door real quick. Go check it out. Go check it out. Everybody just came in from the grocery store. Sorry about that. Thank you for pausing with me. All right, this body is subject to death and decay. Do not identify the self with the body. Perform actions, but remain unattached to them. Always remember Om.
Om. Tat Sat.
That's a short, sweet instruction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Packed full of everything. Always remember Om. And 3, call back to your mind the actions performed by you in the past. It is natural at the time of death to recall both the good and the bad actions performed in the past. Those who do not perform bad actions always remember God by their benevolent thoughts. The teachings of the Upanishads deal with a number of sadhanas to modify one's life. These principles are capable of completely altering the life of a sadhaka and placing him in the category of divine human beings. Man has been given full freedom by God to perform his duties and actions. He enjoys this freedom of action in this world from birth to death. This freedom lasts for the whole of life, but when in the last moments this masterhood and these rights are snatched away, a man grows weak and helpless. The teaching is that for the sake of gaining strength at this time, a man must work for the whole of his life, dedicating his mind and intellect to Brahman. No obligation can be perfectly performed without this dedication of mind and intellect to God. It is good to keep one's conduct and thoughts pure. We should, through the pleasant path, which is called Agni Marga, the path of fire. We should, through the pleasant path, which is called Agni Marga, the path of fire. Kind of an odd sentence, I guess. After departing from this body, man has to pass through one of 2 different paths. Supata and Kupata, the good path or the bad path. Death means separation from this gross body. Quite different from this gross body, there is a subtle body also, which is made of mind, intellect, and ego. This subtle body remains even after separation from the gross body. There is a prayer in this mantra to carry the jiva, soul, through the path of fire. It is quite proper to make this prayer. There are only two paths. One is the path of avidya, ignorance, full of darkness. The other is the path of vidya, knowledge, full of light. The word Agni, fire, means agrenaya, which leads the way of knowledge and light. Like a good torch, huh?
Yeah.
Light and knowledge are foremost in the life of a sadhaka. Here, the word fire should not be taken in a narrow sense. It is folly to worship fire, which is immanent everywhere, as merely something confined to the fire of an oven. It's immanent everywhere. How can it be confined in an oven? Think about that. The word fire has been used in this mantra in the sense of light and knowledge. Brahman is of the nature of light. It is he who is our first master and father. The fire that exists in all of us has originated from him. He who gains this knowledge wears the crown of victory in his life. At the time of leaving this world and life, he is not tortured by attachment and conflicts of mind. This mantra speaks of the washing away of all sins and sorrows. These two paths have also been described as Uttarayana path and Dakshinayana path, the northern and southern paths. Those who practice yoga, can understand. Oh yes, yoga. Those who practice yoga can understand this distinction very well. There are two different paths in yoga sadhana: the path of the sun and the path of the moon. The path of the sun is meant for ascetics, and the path of the moon is meant for pleasure seekers. The path of Sushumna is the middle path, the path of balance. We should choose our path and start on that path at once. No hesitation. Otherwise, when there is life, we have no discrimination, and when discrimination comes, life is exhausted. Nevertheless, we should now start making proper use of our lives. The moment for awakening is upon us. That would be like now, right?
Yeah.
The Isha Upanishad begins with the word Isha, God, and ends with the word Agni, fire, the word pervading power. Both terms mean the same thing. This world too is born out of Brahman and is then absorbed back into Brahman again. The mantras of the Isha Upanishad contain the exposition of both ends of the life cycle and teach us the necessity of moving forward on the path of the detached performance of duty. Duty! That's for Philip.
There you go.
Everyone should bring these teachings into practice. It is my last prayer to God our Lord that you all may be able to give light to human society and bring new life to others through sacrificing selfish interests at the altar of universal good. Let there be a feeling of oneness with individuals, society, and country. Humanism means filling this human world with divine values. We have only to become human. We're already God. We already are God. Be human. This is the only teaching of Vedanta. Think about that. Come, let us learn to live for each other. Let none of us be exploited and tortured by others. In the hustle and bustle of this noisy material world, the basic formula to establish peace is that we should come forward, establishing harmony between individual and individual, between man and woman, between family and neighbors. Vedanta is intended to bring equality to all this diversity. It is the foundation of universal brotherhood. The teaching of our Upanishads is what we must follow. My salutations to all those great men from whom I have received these ideas. God bless all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti.
Well, so there you go, preacher. The end of this journey, this particular journey through Ishopanishad, Book of Wisdom. So
Well, should we do something else next week, Swamiji?
let's do something else. Let's see how things are going.
All right.
We'll plan on doing something else.
Well, good.
And we'll all be holding you in mind and heart for your procedure tomorrow, and that all will go fabulously well.
Thank you.
We will indeed, says Matri. And so.
Thank you very much.
And we will hope to be together with the preacher next Sunday, but yet we'll see how things are going.
Good plan.
Good plan. Everybody give your heart, give your best silent well wishes to Leela on her journey of tomorrow.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate
it. There you go. Roseanne says it all.
Thank you, Roseanne.
There you go. Thank you all for playing. Thank you, Leela. Remember the Om.
Om.
It's always the silence after the Om, right?
That's right.
All righty. Bye-bye all.